Fire Emblem in the year 2023 is a pretty recognizable Nintendo franchise. Whether you played Fire Emblem Three Houses, Fire Emblem Engage, or you just know all the sword fighters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, back in 2003, most of us have never really played a Fire Emblem game, and our only way of knowing about this franchise is through Smash Brothers with Marth and Ike. Blazing Blades was the first time most people outside of Japan finally ever played a Fire Emblem game, and it was the first Fire Emblem game I ever played. Fire Emblem Blazing Blades kicked off a love of not just the franchise of Fire Emblem, but also just a love for strategic RPGs. After I played Blazing Blades, I went on to play Tactics Advance. I went on to play things like Disgaea, and again, it's just one of those genres that have a really special place in my heart now, and it all stems back to Fire Emblem Blazing Blade. This, for a long time, I held up as the standard, the pinnacle of what a perfect strategy RPG game is. From the characters to the story to the strategic gameplay, a lot of it was very engaging and very fun and addictive. Again, for a lot of us longtime fans of Fire Emblem, Blazing Blades was our first entryway. But with Fire Emblem Blazing Blades coming out to GBA on the NSO application, I realized one thing. A lot of people on the Nintendo Switch have never played this GBA game. A lot of people's first entryway into Fire Emblem was with Three Houses. So with Fire Emblem Blazing Blades finally available on the Nintendo Switch online, I wanted to go back and play it. I wanted to go back and see if it held the same clout that I remember, if it was as good as I remembered it to be, and if I think someone who played Three Houses, or if someone who's never played Fire Emblem, can still go into this game. So the question is, does Fire Emblem Blazing Blades still hold up in 2023? The quick answer is yeah. I mean, the game is great. I think strategy RPGs are one of those type of genres that age really, really well. I think the thing that I was worried about was the story good enough? Was the situations and set pieces good enough to kind of keep someone who plays games in 2023 engaged? Yeah, I think if you're a fan of strategy RPGs, the characters in Fire Emblem Blazing Blades, the story, the world, the situations they throw you in are all engaging and captivating, where I definitely could see anyone who's played Fire Emblem Three Houses, someone who's played Fire Emblem Engage, or even someone who's just played other types of strategy games like Disgaea or something. There's definitely something here for those people. Well, I will say, if this is your first time playing Fire Emblem Blazing Blades, do keep in mind this game released in 2003 on the Game Boy Advance. So it's not up to date as far as things like quality of life or just like animations or cutscenes and stuff like that. Everything is still very much pixelated, but the pixel art holds up so well, and like the animated little cutscenes again hold up so well. Playing through this game, it's easy for me to see why I loved it so much, to see why it's such a great entry point for anyone getting into the strategy RPG genre. I think because this is the first time Fire Emblem was going to anywhere else that's not Japan, they really kind of simplified it down to the simplest of like actions. I think they teach you everything from moving to the triangle system. They really understood that when they were making this game, it was gonna be a lot of people's first time playing this style of game and playing Fire Emblem games in general. So I definitely think for those reasons it holds up really well. Even if you're someone who's never played a strategy RPG and you're curious about playing strategy RPGs, I highly recommend playing Fire Emblem Blazing Blades, just because, again, it's a great entryway into a story that's not connected to anything else in the world. It walks you through very easily and very quickly on how to play these games. It doesn't throw too many things at you at once either. And I think it does a good job of not making you feel stupid either. I feel like they don't try to talk to you like a baby. They have the whole thing where the characters are engaging with one another, and like one character will be teaching another character something that like was pretty common back in the early 2000s, where they wouldn't really stop the game or the gameplay or the story or anything just to teach the player something. They really want the player to learn by the characters engaging with one another. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate, and I don't see done as often as it once was. Now that this game is available on the Nintendo Switch GBA, it's a lot more accessible to a wider audience of players than it ever was before. I think unless you want to go the route of emulation, this is definitely the most accessible way to play the game, and it's also the most convenient way to play the game. They have the whole rewind feature where you can rewind just via like the Nintendo Switch Online, and I think that's going to be really useful for people who aren't really used to this type of difficulty in a game. So Fire Emblem Three Houses, Fire Emblem Engage, they have like easier casual style modes. They have modes where if the characters die, they're not gone forever. Fire Emblem Blazing Blades does not have that, as it is a game from 2003. It is a very traditional style Fire Emblem game, probably as traditional as they get, to be honest. If you're someone who might be a little bit iffy on a difficulty, iffy on losing your characters forever, they have the rewind feature that makes it so you don't have to like completely restart the entire battle like I used to do. But yeah, overall, I think if you're curious about jumping into a Fire Emblem game, this is definitely the best route to go at it. Or if you played things like Three Houses and Engage and you kind of just want more Fire Emblem, this is a really good way to play more Fire Emblem. I think this game holds up really well, from its characters to its story to its artwork to its strategic gameplay. A lot of it is very well kept. Overall, I just wanted to talk about a game that I loved playing back then, and I'm happy that I'm able to play this game again in a very accessible way. If you guys were interested in checking it out, I highly recommend it. That ends this video. Do me a favor and like the video if you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down below if you guys are going to be hopping into this one, if you've already played it. With that, I'll see you guys in the next video.